The Red Jade is from the Strange Stories from a Chinese studio written by the Qing Dynasty novelist Pu Songling. This is a story of joys and sorrows, separations and reunions. The fox spirit woman, Red Jade, is one of the most dazzling female characters in Strange Stories from a Chinese studio. The author endows her not only with beauty and gracefulness but also with exceptional intelligence, diligence, and kindness. Although certain remnants of feudal ethics still cling to Red Jade's character, her pursuit of love is passionate and bold. It is said that in Guangping Prefecture, there lived an old man named Feng, who had a son named Xiangru. Both father and son were scholars. The old man, nearing 60, was straightforward in nature but lived in extreme poverty. Over the years, his wife and daughter-in-law had passed away, leaving him to handle all the household chores on his own. One night, Xiangru sat under the moonlight and noticed a woman from the neighboring house peeking over the wall towards his direction. Upon closer inspection, he found her very beautiful. As he approached her, she smiled at him. He waved to her, and she neither came closer nor moved away. After repeated requests, she finally climbed over the wall using a ladder. And so, the two spent the night together. Xiangru asked for her name, and she replied, "I am the neighbor's daughter, called Red Jade." Xiangru became fond of her, and they pledged to be together forever. From then on, they met each other every night. After about half a year, one night Feng woke up to hear laughter and voices of a woman coming from his son's room. He secretly looked inside and saw a woman there. Furious, Feng confronted his son, scolding him for engaging in such immoral behavior. He blamed Xiangru for not focusing on his studies and instead indulging in debauchery, which could ruin his reputation and shorten his life. Xiangru knelt down and promised to change his ways, crying as he spoke. Feng also reprimanded Red Jade, emphasizing the importance of virtue and chastity. After the scolding, Feng went back to bed in anger. Red Jade tearfully said, "Your father's teachings are truly humiliating. Our connection has come to an end." Xiangru said, "As long as my father is alive, I cannot make decisions on my own. If you truly care for me, you should endure this humiliation." Red Jade firmly decided to end the relationship, and Xiangru began to cry. She told him, "Without the blessings of parents or formal engagement, our union is inappropriate. There is a suitable partner for you here. You should consider marrying her." Xiangru mentioned their financial difficulties, but Red Jade assured him she would find a solution. The next night, she came back with 40 taels of silver, advising Xiangru to marry a girl named from Wu village who demanded a high dowry. Xiangru informed his father, leaving out the part about the silver. Feng, concerned about their poverty, initially objected to the idea of going to Wu village, but Xiangru convinced him to at least give it a try. With the help of servants and a carriage, Xiangru arrived at the home of the girl named Wei. Negotiations went well, and the match was agreed upon, except for the dowry. Xiangru showcased the silver on the table, which pleased Wei's father. They wrote up a marriage contract and set a date for the wedding. After returning home, Xiangru falsely claimed to his father that the Wei family didn't require a dowry, which made Feng happy. On the chosen day, Wei's family sent her to Xiangru. After their marriage, they lived harmoniously, and after 2 years, they had a son named Thor. One year during the Qingming festival, Xiangru and Wei went to pay respects at the gravesite, where they encountered a scholar named Song from the county. Song had been dismissed from his position as an imperial censor due to bribery charges. He had returned home but still wielded considerable influence. Seeing Wei's beauty, Song inquired about her and learned she was Xiangru's wife. Thinking that Xiangru was a poor scholar, Song believed he could win his favor by bribing him and sent his servant to communicate this. Xiangru, upon hearing the message, initially grew angry, but then masked his feelings with a smile and reported the situation to his father. Feng was furious, and when Song's servants arrived, he berated them and drove them away. Despite the conflict, Song sent more people to harass the Feng family, leading to violence and chaos. Hearing the commotion, Wei panicked and cried out for help, but the intruders took her away, leaving Xiangru and his son injured. Feng suffered severe injuries and eventually died of anger and grief. Xiangru mourned his father's death and felt powerless to seek justice. He contemplated assassinating Song but feared his retaliation and worried about his son's fate. Consumed by sorrow and resentment, he couldn't sleep day or night. One day, a stranger with a curled beard visited the Feng family to console them. He was unfamiliar to them and asked Xiangru if he had forgotten his desire for revenge. Suspicious that this might be a spy from the Song family, Xiangru responded with caution. The stranger grew angry and laughed, implying that Xiangru was unworthy of his attention. Later, Xiangru realized the man might be genuine and confessed his longing for revenge to him, including the desire for someone to care for his child. The stranger agreed to help him. That night, the stranger secretly entered the Song residence and killed Song, his son, daughter-in-law, and servant. The Song family reported the incident, and officials were shocked. Believing Xiangru was responsible, they arrested him, and he was eventually imprisoned. Desperate and fearing for his son's safety, Xiangru escaped with his child. As night fell, the stranger tracked them down, and after a conversation, it became clear that the stranger was willing to assist Xiangru in his revenge. The stranger then disappeared. However, when the stranger's visit became known, Xiangru was captured and brought back. He was accused of the murders, but he claimed innocence, pointing out that he was with his crying child during the time of the killings. Despite his protests, he was tortured and stripped of his titles. As the story unfolds, it's clear that the stranger had indeed helped Xiangru, but the mystery of his identity remains unresolved. That night, when the county magistrate had just fallen asleep, he heard something striking his bed with a distinct sound. Startled, he shouted loudly, awakening his entire family. They rushed over with candles to illuminate the scene and found a sharp dagger, as frosty as ice, embedded more than an inch deep into the bed, firmly stuck. The magistrate, utterly terrified, dispatched people with weapons to search the surroundings, but no traces were found. Though shaken, the magistrate considered that Song's family was deceased and deemed there was nothing to fear. He reported the case to the higher authorities, defended Xiangru's innocence, and had him released. Back home, Xiangru faced an empty house and an empty rice jar. Fortunately, neighbors took pity on him and brought some food, allowing him to barely get by. With his revenge fulfilled, Xiangru smiled one moment and wept bitterly the next, reflecting on his family's tragic fate. The weight of poverty and losing his son overwhelmed him. He cried uncontrollably in solitude, unable to suppress his sorrow. After half a year, as the officials' pursuit of the culprit relaxed, Xiangru went to the magistrate, begging for his wife's remains. After burying Wei, Xiangru returned home, devastated. He lay on his empty bed, twisting and turning, feeling hopeless. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Xiangru, alert, heard someone speaking to a child outside in hushed tones. He hurriedly got up and peeked through the door's crack, spotting a woman. Opening the door, the woman said, "Your great injustice has been exposed, and it's fortunate that you're safe." Though her voice was familiar, Xiangru couldn't recall who she was in his haste. In the candlelight, he recognized her as Red Jade, holding a child by her side, both laughing. Xiangru, without inquiry, embraced Red Jade and burst into tears. She wept as well and introduced the child, saying, "Have you forgotten your father?" The child held onto Red Jade's clothes, gazing at Xiangru intently. Upon closer inspection, Xiangru realized the child was Thor, much to his astonishment. Red Jade explained that she had raised him in Shaanxi after finding him crying at a crossroads. She had brought him back now that the danger had passed. Before dawn, Red Jade was already awake and prepared to leave. Xiangru asked why she was in a hurry. She replied, "I want to go back." Kneeling naked at the bedside, Xiangru sobbed uncontrollably. Red Jade smiled and admitted, "I lied to you. Our fortunes have changed, and we need to work hard." She got up and cleared weeds from the yard, performing tasks typically associated with men. Concerned about their poverty, Xiangru worried they couldn't sustain themselves. Red Jade advised him to focus on studying and not worry about finances, assuring him they wouldn't starve. She provided money for him to purchase weaving tools and rented farmland, hiring laborers to cultivate it. Red Jade herself worked like a man, tilling the fields and repairing the house with a strong determination. The villagers were impressed by her wisdom and kindness and willingly assisted her. After about half a year, their family grew, and they became prosperous. Xiangru remarked that they had survived a great disaster, thanks to Red Jade's efforts. However, he worried about one unresolved matter. Red Jade asked what it was, and he revealed his desire to restore his scholar status before the upcoming examination. To his surprise, she revealed that she had already sent silver to the examiner to reinstate his name. With her support, Xiangru succeeded in the examination and became a Joran at the age of 36. Their family thrived, and Red Jade remained youthful and delicate despite her hard work. As a note from the historian, this story illustrates that children's virtues and a father's virtues bring reciprocal rewards. It shows that even fox spirits can possess noble qualities. The tale is truly bizarre. The ineptitude of officials is infuriating. Why didn't the knife hit its target given the knife struck the bed so forcefully, just slightly shifted to the side by about half a foot, failing to take the life of the incompetent official? If Su Zaimei had read this story, he surely would have raised a cup and exclaimed, "It's a pity it didn't hit its mark."
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.